And let's start by going around the room, and if everybody would introduce themselves and kind of give us an idea of what you're hoping to get out of this. And then once we do that, then we'll introduce ourselves and get rolling.
I'm Peno Palama, Weekday Community Television. I'm on the production staff, and I was in a workshop about teaching people who have a hard time, non-digital natives or whatever, that have a hard time getting some stuff. So they're talking about using tablets and easier, like, you know what I'm saying, easier things to make video.
Okay.
Sorry.
Great.
Carol Gilroy with Hack TV in Massachusetts. Just wanted to see what else you have to offer and what I can learn from this thing.
We're good people to learn from, so good choice. In the back.
I'm John Hauser from Access Humboldt, and I'm here to just find out what the current state of the art is in mobile devices.
I'm Nick Brandt, Technology Director for CMAP in Gilroy and CTV in Santa Cruz, and I am trying to figure out if I can do something with mobile devices and publishing that isn't going to way overtax my staff right now, which is me, by the way. So yeah, I'm just here to learn what the currents are, how I can integrate it into my system, because my systems are mostly automated. And so yeah.
I'm Sally Lane, and I mentioned for the Center of Palo Alto and Hillsborough TV, where I have a whole crew of volunteers go out. Currently, we have cameras that are all set to be the same codec, same aspect ratio, everything's all the same, so that it's really easy to edit and transcode and not have to change aspect ratios. And I was just wondering, people ask me all the time, can I bring my iPhone footage in? Well, by the end of the process, it looks like, yeah. So how do you
We'll
get around
touch on that a little bit, I think.
So I guess
Won't we start with the front row over here?
Carlos Fernandez. I teach camera class over at Access Sacramento. Not everybody has, access to expensive DSLRs or to, HD cameras, but just about everybody, even kids, have smartphones, something of that nature. So I want to get people to shoot, more frequently. I want to see what you guys are doing, what you can talk about, and also hear the rest of those quite a bit.
Perfect. All right.
I'm Dave C. from Sacramento. I'm getting lazy, so you got a little fun.
All right.
Alan Sutterfield, station manager, Santa Maria Community Television. We're working kind of on the old model. Our checkout cameras are tape cameras, our last generation of those. And we've got a couple of digital edit bays in support of editing. We're going to have some money freeing up in the next couple of years, and I want to see what's cheap and easy that can replace our existing systems.
There's definitely some of that. All right, with two people in the back over here.
Craig Merschka from Great TV San Jose, with production. Just want to see what new technology is going on with the mobile devices. I'm just getting into this field of mobile devices, and I just want to know a little bit more.
I'm Diane Dadoshka, Davis Media Access, and I'm also in production, and I'm curious about smartphones. I know about recording video, so I'm curious what the workflow is for editing and completing a project mobily.
Okay. So just as a general question for you guys, are you interested in looking at replacing a camera directly with a cell phone or tablet? Or are you looking to create a entirely mobile development and distribution platform? So you shoot on the tablet, you edit on the tablet, and then you distribute from the tablet? Or are you looking to shoot on the iPhone, transfer that to your laptop, and then distribute it? Can I just get a hand for fully mobile and for both, a mixed? All right, good, about half and half.
And the one thing that seemed like common around the room was everybody was looking for simple, something that was easy to publish, and basically the newer equipment. So I think we've got a nice variety that we'll go through, and then hopefully we can answer questions as well, and maybe let you kind of hold on to some of the equipment and see what you think of it. I'm Liz Harrison. I'm with Access Sacramento. I started off years ago as a volunteer and learned so much about it that they eventually put me to work. Now I work there. I do the website. I do anything related to the web. I teach classes. I direct shows, which, as many of you do as well, we wear the multiple hats. So during the day, you might wear 6 different hats. And so today I'm talking about one of the things I work with, which is with the youth organization that we deal with. We deal with a group called Neighborhood News Correspondents. And we basically teach the youth how to go out into their communities and share their stories. And so some of the toys I brought with me are what they are currently using out in the field. They shoot, they upload, and they write their own articles by themselves. So it's kind of nice and very empowering to see them do that.
My name is Mark Taylor. I'm a multimedia IT tech guy from KMVT. I do everything from managing the website, or at least the more technical aspects of it. I just finished up the engineering for our digital conversion, and I just run a lot of the experimental tech, just trying to make sure it all integrates and works. So that's a lot of my time. Of course, I do everything else as well, so all of us, I think, get a bit of that. All right.
So I guess the easiest way to start this is we can kind of go just roughly around the equipment we have with us, and then if you have specific questions, we can kind of answer them as we go along. And then if there are specific questions at the end that are a little more involved, we can get into some of those as well. So,
all right, so I'll just go over a few of the items here with their price points, and then we can just get into each individual item. Here I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 10.1 tablet. It currently retails for about $350, and you can get them just about anywhere. It's basically an all-in-one thing. You can edit on this, you can shoot on this, and it's got an SD card slot, so you can throw in a 64 gigabyte card and just shoot for as long as you want. At least I've never run into a recording limit on it, but there could be when you get into the, a lot of flash memory devices have a 4 gigabyte file size limit. And so depending on what software you're using, it will either relay record to a second file, or it will stop recording. And that gets us over to DSLRs, which will stop recording. Now, DSLRs, you can go for something like this. This is a Canon 7D. The camera itself retails somewhere between $1,200 and $1,600, depending on how used you purchase it. And of course, you have to buy lenses as well. So you're looking at another, this is about $300 50 mil 1.4 lens, but there's plenty of lenses out there at plenty of price points, so that's a whole variety of things. But you can get DSLRs that'll shoot great video for around $500. So they're not extraordinarily high priced, but you can certainly, if you have the money, you can buy the 5D Mark III at $3,000, but I'd rather not break that. I'd rather break a Canon T3i or something that only cost me about $400. So you don't have to go for the high-end ones that are up there, but you certainly can. Next, oh yeah, so this has about a 20-minute recording limit. It shoots on CF cards. You can get those up to 128 gigabytes somewhat cost-effectively. 32 is probably, in general, the most cost-effective card you can currently purchase.
one quick tidbit on the DSLRs, though, when you pick up your chips, make sure they're a class 10. A lot of times you can get cheaper ones which are class 4 or 6, which are great, but when you're shooting video, you will notice a difference in the quality of the video. So just something on DSLRs that I've learned that you want to keep track of on that.
No. Any tips? Next, we've got a GoPro Hero 3. Currently, they're on the Hero 3 Plus. So this is a older model, but anytime GoPro gets a new model, they sell their old ones for about $70 off. If you go to a GoPro sponsored event, you actually can purchase 2 GoPros at $100 off each. So if you're looking for an easy way to get a couple of cameras, that's a wonderful way. They shoot up to 1080 60p. Well, this one will shoot up to 1080 60p. It will shoot up to, well, for one battery, you get about 45 to 1 hour of footage. And you can put 64 gig cards in there, which is good for about 4 batteries. So you've got 4.5 hours worth of footage, and you just need to buy a lot of batteries. These do have a very nice feature. If you take a look at the tablet, the GoPro app, I can't turn the TV sideways, so you guys are just going to have to cope with that one. But you can stream the footage wirelessly. You can get this to both go to tablets and computers, though computers, it's not really designed for it, so it takes a little bit of finagling with a VLC player and some IP stuff, so it's not perfect. You can actually wirelessly transfer footage from the GoPro to the tablet. You do have to then transcode it with an app on the tablet, and then you can edit with it on the tablet. So it's got a lot of really nice features if you're trying to go mobile and you need some fancy footage along with this. If you want the sky plane footage, you can grab a balloon, put that on that, and you can download the footage. But they have a lot of specialty purposes. They cannot focus on anything because they are permanently fixed focus. You have a wide, well, super wide, wide, and narrow, which is actually just wide. So you don't have a lot of variety in what you can shoot. It's just you get the camera as close as possible, and that's why you have a hard shell so it doesn't break. Good question.
Yeah. I know you're a TriCaster guy. Have you ever tried to use the live feed that you're getting there over a network input or anything like that for live?
The way that works is the GoPro actually creates a Wi-Fi hotspot. Unfortunately, you can't get, the TriCaster can't connect to that. So
the one-to-one.
Yeah, the way I would work it is I would set this up to transmit wirelessly to the laptop and then do a video out from the laptop to the TriCaster. I have not tried that yet. I just haven't had the spare time to play with that.
Thank you.
There's another feature of the GoPro. Does anyone know what that is that you can do with the GoPro? One of the
sequences, slow motion.
You can do slow motion, you can do fast motion, you can also, it's underwater feature. So those are good features.
Yeah, I actually went scuba diving last weekend with it, so that
Good answer.
Yeah, works out wonderfully. They've been on planes, they've been in space, they've crash landed, they've survived underwater for months before being retrieved. So they are very durable cameras. You can get the cheap ones for around $200, I think, or you can buy them off Craigslist of the many people that buy them and realize they don't have any use for them. So there are plenty of ways to go about and get them. And as far as sports videos go, they are pretty much the way to go. You can get a lot of footage, great footage that works out well. But they are very limited in your creative options in terms of image control. So you're looking at a lot of advantages. The DSLR gives you the ultimate in image control as far as an affordable camera. But you trade that completely off with the GoPro for almost no image control, but it's a lot cheaper, a lot more durable, and you don't have to be afraid about taking it places. So if you want to go kayaking, the DSLR might be a little expensive if you go overboard. The GoPro, it's going to survive just fine.
The GoPro also has lots of little accessories. You can get a head mount, so you are hands-free. They have chest mounts. A friend of mine jumped and did his parachute jump with the GoPro. He was just informed that if he lost it, they were not responsible.
So GoPro mounts
make
right
sure
up here?
you put it in its little harness safely, and don't forget it's there. And the worst part you could do is like the other person that jumped with them, they held their hands like this, so their whole footage didn't work. The other toys we have, this is one that we started with our youth correspondents. It's just a flip cam. And I don't know how many of you deal with TechSoup. Does anybody know what TechSoup is? Okay. For those of you that don't, TechSoup.org is an organization that helps nonprofits. They're also a nonprofit as well, but they help nonprofits get software and equipment for a lot cheaper. So in most access centers, budget is a big issue. So these were about $10 a piece. And when we started off with the kids, this was wonderful because we could hand it to them. It came with the little stands. It actually had colorful feet that they could dress it up, so they thought that was great. And the nice thing about these is that...
I got it on.
Okay. The nice feature about it is it actually has the USB drive, so it clicks right into. It clicks right into it, and then you can actually download your footage. You can edit it on the fly.
I just lost this.
Oh, signal.
Oh, here, hang on.
There we go.
So we have the USB, and let's see if we can get back here now. There we go. So we have the USB on the side, and then, so as you can see,
Yeah, the GoPro is really wide. Here, let me try and narrow that for you. Field of view. We'll go to narrow.
we're going to be the techie geeks up here, Sean.
There we go. It's a little bit narrow, so we can.
So you can kind of see, it gives you a good enough range. It also has the editor built in it. So as soon as you plug in your GoPro into your laptop, it will actually download the editing software. You can edit it, and then what the kids do, or the flip, they will actually edit it, and then just they use the laptop basically to upload it to the site, and then they write their little articles that go along with it as well. So it's kind of a fun little feature. The next thing, obviously, everybody has a smartphone, and I'll tell you what, we've watched some of the kids shoot footage that is absolutely crazy, but they do it all from their phone. You can actually use the footage. There's apps you can download and edit on your phone, and then just upload to YouTube or wherever your site is. One of the other toys, which our kids have now migrated, they wanted something new and fun. So we actually got them these devices. And the nice thing about these is we added the attachments, and these are considered really cool with our youth. They can actually go out and shoot. Does anybody know what the basic brains on this is?
Shell with a magnetic lens.
I'll show you. These are all attachments that we bought for them.
What is that called?
I'll show you. Then they just pull the microphone back up. We added the microphone because what's actually inside this you can use your iPhone, or this is actually an iTouch, which we gave the viewer. The iTouch actually comes with the iMovie on it, so they can edit on the fly. It just pops in. It has the flexibility. Let's see if we can get it to come on now.
Does that work with droids too, or just?
Yeah, this is just basically a housing, and you can actually come up, or we can pass it around and everybody can come look at it. But the nice thing about this is it's simple to hold. You know, a lot of times you have a contraption and it's awkward, it's not comfortable to hold. And so when you're going out to shoot, you really don't have much of an angle. So.
And fingers get on the lenses. And
Yes.
Oh, just as a mobile device tip, clean your lenses on your camera. How many of you have clean pockets? And where do your cameras live? In your pockets. So get a microfiber cloth and clean off those lenses every once in a while. It'll help your videos in the long run. All right, so.
So the next attachment that comes with this, because I didn't charge this one back up again, I was running around shooting with it, is it comes with a battery backup. that we bought for the kids as well.
And you guys actually don't need to buy brand name battery backups. You can buy, just go online and look for USB battery backup, and you're going to get a dozen or more different manufacturers of batteries that are USB pluggable. So you take your cell phone charging cord, it plugs into the USB port on the battery backup, and you've now got a battery extension for whatever device it is. And that could be for just about any one of these devices too. You can go with something like the Goal Zero. They operate on a solar panel style, but they also allow you to take AA batteries, drop them into a device that then becomes a battery backup. You can use rechargeable AA's, or you can use the regular ones, and it allows you to just charge your device. You can go with any number of other brands. I can't really name them off the top of my head, but there's lots of them out there, and they all work just as well. Keep in mind that the really cheap, sketchy brands are probably not going to last as long. So take a look, make sure that they don't have a reputation for leaking or something. I mean, it's a battery, so just be careful. And yeah.
Okay, we will hand it around, and then I'll plug it back in after we get it to work.
And what is that adapter called?
This is an MCAM,
MCAM.
and it actually has the little cap that goes with it. We actually bought lights so they can actually, and I won't shine this at anybody, but they're just little lights for on top. They're little great things. We added the microphone again because the microphone on this is not the greatest. If you record it on your iPhones or your Androids, the audio is okay, but this makes a world of difference.
And it also has a bumped up lens on it, is that it?
Yes, this lens is actually bumped up, so it's a little better lens than what you have on your iTouch or your iPhones. The audio again too bumps it up, so your audio is a little better, and that helps as well. Let's see, what else?
So just for prices on all of this stuff?
The iTouch was about $180. The MCAM's probably about $150. Let's see, I got my list here.
All right, so now
I think the whole rig we put together for the kids was about $500, $550. The light was about $40. I know there are cheaper ones out there now. They've come down a lot in price.
about $30. So size is very useful. If
$45 for the microphone, and again, on this one in particular, there's actually 3 settings, and the kids know they use the one setting if we're recording in this room. They would hook it up with the one setting. The second setting is for interviews, and the third one is if they're in a really noisy room. So it's all built into a $45 mic. You can't go wrong with it.
And that is matched specifically to the adapter, or is it just a mic you found?
It's a mic we found. It's from iRig, and it actually works out really well. Let me go ahead and pound this and kind of see how that feels. But
Wouldn't it be better to put a shotgun mic rather than that? Because normally you need to get the mic to the source.
well,
Shotgun probably would get better sound than
shotgun probably would.
Unidirectional mic would be.
You really have a lot of options when it comes to using microphones for your mobile devices. The main obstacle with all of this is getting the audio into your device. You can go with an external sound recorder like the Zoom H4n or the Tascam VR40 or any one of those. They will record professional quality audio and you're going to get perfect stuff, but at the same time you then have to use something like Pluralize to synchronize in post. You can do it manually too, but that's a little bit more difficult. If you want, you really just need to look at whatever device you've got and come out with some sort of a connection. If you want to use professional microphones, you can use something called a Beach Box or Beach Tech Box or something like that. It takes XLR inputs and then it has a 3.5 millimeter output, which should plug into most of your mobile devices. Now those aren't exactly attachable to tablets and such, so your best bet is to get a similar device to the cell phone grip thing, and that helps anyway just for stabilization and other stuff. Question?
Those looking for stuff similar to this for the iPad or Android, there's a new company called Padcaster that's making a holder for your iPads and Android. It's under $100.
Yeah. So as these markets evolve, you're going to get more and more options out there. So just keep an eye out because they're just going to keep popping up over and over again.
And the interesting thing with this is we purchased the kits. One of our mentors that worked with the youth had, basically went online, he researched and found this unit, found the pieces and put these all together. And about 3 months into the kids using it, they found online this picture that I have on my laptop, which is TMZ. I'm not sure how many of you know who TMZ is, but that's what they actually go out and record with. So the kids were really excited to see that what they were using was the same thing that people in the fields are. We also bought little bags so that everything goes in a bag. They check it out. They, have ID cards that have their picture on them. And the kids just really like being able to go out. It's simple. It's, editing's right there on the iMovie that's in the iTouch phone for them. So.
And you're not limited to single video productions on any of these devices either. A lot of these devices you're starting to see apps produced. We have a producer at our station who, having taken my field production class and learned our Sony, our nice fancy Sony cameras, NX5Us. He then went off and did a 3-camera shoot with a couple of iPhones and a couple of iPads. Live switched on the 3 devices, all streaming back to a home tablet, which he recorded on and switched. So these options of doing the wireless video being transmitted back to a tablet, they're becoming very feasible. And the advantage is that 1 camera, 2 camera, well, if I had another one, 3 cameras. Yeah, and then you've got a tablet for your switcher. Compare that with the camera we have back here in the back room, or a DSLR. This DSLR and my bag down here carries all the gear. Because I need to have several extra batteries, I need extra cards, I have to have multiple lenses, I have to have all this extra gear to make sure that the camera does the same thing that the phone does. Now you are always, with every option that you go with, you are going to be gaining some advantages and losing them. You're going to get better audio quality with this camera. There's some new Windows phone camera, I think came out with 41 megapixels.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
I think that's, yeah, it's,
overkill.
yeah.
Big too. That's a big, or a
It's a
big
big
phone.
bulky.
Yeah, so the devices are out there, they do have various advantages, but a specialty device is going to be very good in one area, so you then need to get the audio recorder to compensate for the convenient artistic video that you're going to get with the DSLR. With the GoPro, you've got very interesting footage because you can put this anywhere, outside your car and whatnot, but the audio coming through the case is really not all that great. So when you're deciding on which route you want to go, try and think about the entire workflow that you're going to be teaching. So it's not just GoPros are the hot thing now, let's go with that. It's look at Chromebooks, look at all the different tablets, Windows, Android, or iPad. Android and iPad are the most popular right now. The Galaxy Note I've got here actually comes with a Dropbox account, which is pretty useful. But the editing software on it works pretty well. I can, for like $3-4, I can get some transcoding software to get just about any other type of video converted to something I can actually edit on here. Now that's not always quick, but if you're on a trip somewhere, it's a lot quicker than hauling your laptop around. You don't break your back in with all the gear down here. So it's options for how you want to mix and match of all this stuff.
The other thing too is, you know, everybody's worried about how many megapixels are in their units that they're shooting with. In most cases, the only purpose of having a 18 megapixel camera or something even that large is if you're getting into doing poster quality, that you want sharp, crisp. You know, when you're shooting video, that's really not the same factor. So, you know, when you're talking about shooting with a lot of this stuff, you know, you have to focus on what are you using this for? You know, what is the purpose of the video you're shooting? If you're uploading it online, you know, you have to consider that as well. And in some cases, is the quality that important, or is getting the word out that you're trying to get out by using the video?
A couple of comparisons. A 2 megapixel image is the equivalent of 1080 HD footage. So if you're taking a 2 megapixel photo on your camera phone, it is HD quality. It's not, if you're shooting an 18 megapixel image that this DSLR does, that's good enough for a 20-inch by 30-inch print. Honestly, I really don't print that many. And most computer monitors are just 1920 by 1080 HD signals, and so a 2 megapixel photo is going to look just as good. It may even look better because you're actually removing lines of pixels when you're taking that 18 megapixels and squishing it into a small monitor. So thinking about your destination, whether you're going to compress for the web, whether you're distributing on your website or on a channel. Our channels are SD, so there isn't a need for a 4K video functionality that this GoPro has, which is only like 15 frames a second, so it's not all that useful. But it still gets to the point of, yes, you can shoot in the super high res, but you have to adapt the workflow after that to compensate because your destination.
The other thing too with a lot of the technologies, because you can shoot everything, and the thing that I was saying with the youth that we work with is that they can edit it right away. I know we have projects when we go out and we have a truck shoot, we go out and shoot an event. You know, now it's got to come back, it's got to be imported in, it's got to be edited down, the graphics have to be added. If it's just a quick event, we did Chalk It Up in Sacramento, and we took a bunch of the flip cams and a bunch of the M cams, and we sent the youth out just to do little snapshots of the Chalk It Up event. And they talked to the artists as they were working, and then they immediately uploaded it with a little snippet, you know, 2-3 lines about the artist or whatever, just to get people enticed to look at the event that was going on. In a lot of cases, it's easier to be simple and quick to get the information out than to make every project a long, blown-out project. Time is important to everybody, and I think we all need little shortcuts.
So, take a photo. There we go. Yeah, so we've got a lot of options here with our devices. Was I seeing a hand over here? No. All right. And a lot of these devices are giving us options that we didn't used to have. So we can now take footage. I'm going to download it. I'll take the high-res one because I can. The software that you use in here, I downloaded a couple of different video editing softwares on here. Some of them will you load up a bunch of different footage, and you end up, so we've got video editor, vid trim, video editor again. I think I have Magister on here as well. These will actually analyze the footage and auto edit some of this stuff. Now, I'm just going to use video editor because it's, I don't want to get too confused with some of these other ones. So we'll add some footage. I took some of these videos earlier at the station. we'll take an image, say, camera. Yeah, wait, that's earlier. Audio.
How many folks actually upload, I know the Access Centers probably do, but how many actually in the room upload to their websites or to YouTube? So good group of everybody in here. Good.
So sometimes converting stuff from, I never actually converted a photo from the GoPro, so that was interesting. I'll have to deal with that later. But I can take video footage from it. I have to run it through VidTrim here to get it to convert properly. So I've actually already converted that one, so I'll ignore it. But it allows you to take footage, because everything has to be converted in the digital world. You're encoding things to go to YouTube. You're encoding them for Vimeo, for your channel. You have to use this editor. You have to convert them on this thing as well. So being able to take formats from one thing to another is something that people are going to have to understand how to do. If I actually go back to the GoPro one, I'm going to just do a quick conversion for you guys. So if I say, I'll just take one from, so we will do a quick video up here.
Everybody wave.
Alright. So then I'm going to go to that option there. We select that footage, we hit download, 1.4 minutes or 2 seconds. For the purposes of this, I think I'll do the low res. And I have to go into VidTrim. We can select, there we go. There we go. We got everybody. Trim this. You have not selected part of the video for trimming. Please move the ring slider. Proceed anyway. That means I'm just going to trim the entire thing, and it's just going to end up converting to save as new clip. Assuming that'll work, I can now go into the video editor, go to videos, and alright, I'll have to reconvert that in a different. Oh wait, did that just, no, that was the photo? Is that the photo? Is that, yes. That's the photo. Alright, so like that. There we go, transcode, top right. And transcoding, keep in mind this is a 6-second footage, and it's going to take us about 6 seconds. So this is not the quickest thing on a tablet. It's not the quickest thing on a regular laptop or a desktop computer. So if you're trying to do a lot of this stuff where you've got hours of footage, go have some dinner while this goes through, because it's going to take a while. So then we go back into the editor, add some footage.
A lot of mobile devices, the flexibility is that you can be out in the field. So as you're out in the field doing events and things like that, it's instantaneous that you can shoot your footage, upload, and then share that. So it kind of cuts down a lot on time. Go ahead.
Do either of you have programs in place where you're using a native capture device, using its native capture settings to natively edit it, and then uploading it somewhere off of that device? What frustrates me is every time you say the word convert, that's a time when I'm going to get a call from somebody who didn't convert it correctly. And so I'm most interested, especially in the use of mobile technology, where we can go to a native format, which is edited natively, and then convert it on the back end, where it's easiest for me to convert from my servers and whatever other publication I'm going to do. Anybody?
All right, so what you're looking at is you have source material that comes from a camera. The GoPro records in a certain format, and when it downloads to the tablet, it gets transcoded so that the tablet it doesn't try and transfer the whole thing. They're rather large files. If I'm going to edit it, it has to be transcoded again into something else. When the editing program is done, it only exports in a single format. So depending on whether you are recording with the internal camera or an external device, or if you're doing a multicam where one phone is transmitting to another device which is recording, once you've got that stuff recorded on your primary editing device, you can then export it or edit, and then you create your final product, which a lot of these devices also have apps. So the YouTube app will allow you to upload directly from your tablet. Those uploading apps have a lot of functionality. They will take just about any video format. Now, if we're talking about something like, we have the Teleview Hypercaster at our station, and we're able to upload through Connect. So a producer can produce theoretically on their tablet and log into Connect and then upload their video directly to there. We then download it from Connect and we can play it on the station. Now the Connect software in the cloud converts it for everybody. So there's no, as a station, as long as they just log into Connect or whatever service they are using, it will convert it in the cloud. So you're not dealing with those conversions. It's only if you've got this stuff in-house where you're doing a class or something that you're going to have to worry about people going from one codec to another within these devices. And that's, granted, the GoPro to the tablet is probably a little bit of an extreme example. You can also take the car, because this records on a micro SD card, this tablet actually has a micro SD card slot. My phone also has a micro SD card slot. However, when you transfer the footage that way, you're transferring the raw footage, which takes a long time, and the tablet can't handle playing that footage back. It's just too big. So you have to transcode it.
The other thing too is, I guess it depends on what you're using it for. When we did our event, Chalk It Up, the kids were running around with these units. They came back to the laptop with their footage after they edited on the touch, and then they uploaded it to our website, and so they were instantaneously working on those. When we do our game of the week, we use our LiveView backpack. And so they're shooting in the field and streaming it at the same time. It's also being recorded at the studio in the format to re-air.
It just feels like we're in a weird time in this niche of the industry where, I mean, we've talked about 3 or 4 different file formats and codecs in the last 10 minutes.
Right.
And so trying to find native workflows within that we can use as the industry or even the station standard is super difficult, it feels like. That's just talk to me.
There's a lot of them out there now because we're in the mobile device age. People are doing things that they used to use camcorders for. There are people shooting videos and things on their iPhones. So it's...
If you were to just stick to one thing though, like if you just stuck to the iPod Touch and edited in the iPod Touch and exported your thing, I don't think there'd be too big of a problem. That's when you start mixing everything.
Right.
And then you did the multicam thing with the Wi-Fi and all that stuff and the switching.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
If you
when
can,
it's complicated. But if you're to keep it real simple for people, I'm thinking about old people. That's what old people with new cameras, right? They can do everything
old
out
people,
there.
young people, these are great.
Same, right. So, but yeah, I think that makes a lot
I
of sense.
agree. I think that
Yeah,
makes sense.
you gotta stick to one.
And the purpose of having the variety is this may be more appealing to one person, you know, flip cam may be more appealing to someone else. I know up in Sacramento, the Fish and Game Department use these GoPros for their promos, and they love them because they will put them all over the place, do their footage, edit it all, it's all the same format, and then use that footage to promote. So, yeah, again, I think you just need to find one that you're comfortable with and what you want to run with and go. But in our age, you kind of also don't want to restrict yourself to one format. If you tell somebody that you have this, so, well, we're sorry, we can't help you with that, you've got to have this, yeah, I think you're going to kind of get squawks. You know, so, you know, as far as the station itself, you just want to make sure what your format is and have people comply. But at the same time, you want that flexibility because you want to get your word out any way you possibly can.
I have a question. You talked about photos being good quality on that video, and using that. But then the video that I get from people's iPhone things, when you try to match it up with any other aspect ratio, or you blow it up to the big screen like that, which is not a really big screen, the video just falls apart, especially if it's low light. Do you have any suggestions for
All right.
getting better quality stuff, or
One of-
not transferring?
Sure. One of the
Well, people don't carry lights around with their iPhones.
one of the big problems with all of these devices, it's called Jello Cam. You guys have all probably seen it as the cameras shake. That has to do with how fast information can be read off of the camera sensor. The slower you read information off the camera sensor, the more as the camera moves, the information changes as you get to the bottom of the sensor. So if you're reading lines of information off of the sensor, and you start here and you pan to here by the time you're at the bottom, you've got a kind of a diagonal look of all your video. Then if you go back the other way, it just sort of rotates the other way and you get this weird jello-y effect. There is unfortunately no real solution other than a tripod for that. And that's partially what the weighted grip over here is really great at. Because if you're trying to just hold the camera like this, you're going to get little bits of shake in the camera. When you weight a camera, you make it heavier, you lose a lot of that shake that you're getting, the little minor shake. And that's going to improve your video quite a bit. As for the low light performance, there's no real solution.
Pixelation of the screen and block.
Light.
Yeah. Lights.
Well, I know,
Yeah, I mean, these things can get
When they use
pretty
their app,
complicated.
that's what we do. They have the attachment, they add it to these, and so now we're doing, you know, basic.
How does these lights get powered out of the little phone battery? How much time do you, oh, it's built into the light?
So
They
that's
last
AV.
It's built into the light. It actually comes with its own little,
Oh, okay.
comes with its own little charger. So it's kind of like if you have a DSLR or something, you have your own little battery pack, so you charge them up.
Yeah. This one runs off of AA batteries, but it can also use any of the larger Sony, Canon, or other batteries to power them as well. So, but then again, this one's also probably 8 times the weight and, well, at least that. So it's a trade-off. Yeah, go for it. And so it's a trade-off. Every time that you add another piece of equipment, you're getting closer and closer to the large camera rig. So if you really got to look at what it is that you're trying to do and whether you're going to be adding 15 different gadgets to compensate for the fact that you don't have the large camera. So it's just one of those balancing acts.
What are you shooting and what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Now, the two-handed eye-touched adapter there, can you mount it to a tripod? Does it have a tripod on it? I didn't notice.
It has 4 points.
You could?
Yeah, it's got 4 attachment points to it. So you can, you've got one of these little Manfrotto adapters. And yeah, there's a bunch of different varieties. This has got a what is it, a 1/4 inch or an 1/8?
I think it's.
Yeah, so we've got a 1/4 inch 20 on one and an 1/8 inch on the other, and so that'll fit 90% of all the stuff we'll have to deal with. There are plenty of adapters out there. They range in like $1 to $5 a piece. If you just buy a couple like that, you can probably manage to get just about everything attached. And those are wonderful little things for getting random things attached. If you stick around for the wave awards, I'll be taking some photos, and I've got a bunch of different adapters you can take a look at that do the same thing.
And if anyone's interested in any of, as far as this rig itself, I do have, if you leave me name and number or email, I can send you the links for all of those.
You can also get these, they have little tiny tripods that you can buy. You can mount your phone in.
Yeah.
That's not going to hold all the other attachments, but like I have this that I just bought for my own personal use. And it's got these little grippy feet that can wrap around. And so you can just put this up, mount it somewhere, and the whole thing.
And they come in various sizes
Yeah.
too.
And they have
So-
ones with magnetic feet that you can get. And just detaches like this, and then you just fold it up and put it away.
Yeah, so if you're gonna try and do a phone, get his. If you need a DSLR, get this one. Because that's just a lot to carry around in your pocket. It's just, yeah. So get what you need, not the fanciest thing around. Those will grab on to leashes, camera leashes and other things, so it makes it kind of easy to just have them wrap around a bag cord or something. But yeah, there are tons of things out there for everybody. Velo, I believe, provides some magnetic clip-on lenses for cell phones. You've got, well, yeah, the clip-on lenses for cell phones have become a very popular item I've seen around. I went on the Scott Kilby Worldwide Photo Walk. There's probably a dozen of them on that.
Just Google it, and
Yeah.
you'll just be amazed at how many accessories they have.
If you go to B&H online, you can almost find anything
Yeah.
there.
If you guys took a look at the vendors yesterday, what was it? The Live View people, they had a device that would grip. It gave you a grip on the bottom, and it had a battery pack plus a Wi-Fi node to boost your cell phone's capabilities. I couldn't tell you how much it cost, but it seemed like a very nice idea. And it gives, and really the big thing, or the biggest advantage you can get when using mobile devices is getting grips, something to hold your device. Because these small little devices, they're very shaky as you're using them. So having some sort of a mount, be it a chest mount, head mount, or tripod, makes a big difference with the quality of your video. And there are definitely a number of videos out there right now that have been produced entirely on cell phones, that you can't tell the difference between whether it was on a cell phone or whether it was done with traditional film equipment. The difference between whether you can tell whether it's on a cell phone or not is the style in which it was used, whether it was handheld the entire time or whether people were using tripods and stuff like that to stabilize the video. People trying to handhold DSLRs and big cameras, it's going to look just as bad. The only difference is you're going to get less jello cam because they're sort of designed for that. But
The other thing too is, there's lots of toys out there. Again, it goes back to what meets your need and what works. DSLRs are great. I have one, but when I go places, it's like 3 bags. You have to have your flashes, and you have to have your extra lenses, and you have your tripod, and you have your batteries, and your extra cards. Sometimes the convenience of having something small and simple to just run out the door with. I mean, throw your wallet in it and you're out the door. The kids think this is great because it's cool looking. And if that makes them happy and makes them want to go shoot and do events, then, it just helps to promote to make them successful, to give them a direction, as well as helping you to get words out to other folks about who we are and what we do. Sure.
You know, for a while, the quality of video on an iPhone was superior, way superior to that of Android devices. Has that changed? What's the best quality of video on a phone?
Yeah, that's a tough question because the industry's changing so fast. So I don't know that they're really, you know.
It's always getting better.
Right.
Let me put it this way, it's the one that came out last week. But if you are, again, even between these devices, different cell phones are going to have different advantages. The one that came out that's 41 megapixels, that's probably going to have better pixelage than any other camera. But its low light performance is going to be rock bottom. It's going to have no low light performance because you have so many pixels packed into such a small space that it's going to have very little light is going to hit each pixel, and so you're going to get very bad low light performance. On the other hand, if you have a 2 megapixel camera, you're going, and it's the same size sensor, you're going to have a incredibly improved low light performance over that other device. So the 5D Mark I camera, not mine, I don't have that kind of money, but the 5D Mark I had, I think, about 12 megapixels. The 5D Mark II had 18. 5D Mark III, I don't recall whether it's 18 or 21, but the Mark I, the reason it became such a popular video device is because it had incredible low light performance. 12 megapixels on a full frame sensor gave a lot of light per pixel. When you add more pixels, you get less light per pixel, and so you get worse low light performance. When you guys were, we've actually got Sony P170s at our station. Then we got the Sony NX5Us, and their low light performance is considerably reduced because you've got, and it's got a larger lens, it's a lot heavier, and that's because more light has to get through to hit the sensor to give you the same picture. So you have to look at the entire picture of the product. You can't just say what one has the best picture, it's what one has the best picture in these circumstances. And that's what you have to go through with each one. And there's a new phone out, there's a new tablet out every other week, and so it really comes down to which one is a middle-of-the-road one that is going to fit my needs the best. Unless you specifically want sport footage, then get this. If you specifically want to be doing mobile uploads, then a cell phone or a tablet is perfect. iTouch. But if you are just trying to be a creative in the field, you may want to go with a flip because you've got those options, or a DSLR because you don't have to get that stuff up onto the web right now. So it depends on your process and your workflow. Mobile is kind of varied in how you want to really describe it.
The other thing you'll run into too is even when you're in the field, there are toys that you can have, hotspot little boxes that you can access your phone and get internet anywhere. So even in the field, if you have the right toys, you can upload from wherever you are. So the industry is changing so much with mobile devices that you don't have to say, I've got to go back to location or back to the station, edit my footage and upload. If you've got a laptop, you can upload and edit right there on the spot. The flexibility is there. It's just, there's so many toys and they're changing so fast that keeping up with it sometimes is a big challenge in itself. And again, it goes back to, what are you comfortable with? Would you want a DSLR? With a DSLR, if you've never used one, unless you're going to shoot an automatic, and if you're going to shoot an automatic, why spend the money on a DSLR? If you're going to go into that route, there's a learning curve. It's like with anything, as you get new toys, you're going to have to learn how to use it. People say the younger kids are better, they're quicker. It's not that they're quicker, it's that they will actually sit there and play with it, most of us are so busy, or tasked with so many different projects or jobs that we're doing, don't have that amount of time to sit there and determine, what can I use this for, what can I do with that? So that's why sharing the knowledge and just, sometimes YouTube's a great site for, I want to get this, but I'm not too sure about it. Go look at some of the things that are done. On our accesslocal.tv site, a lot of the footage that the youth have shot are on there. And again, it goes back to, if they're shot outside, the videos are really great. As they go inside, depending on the lighting, the quality is going to go down. That's why we got into adding the little light to them. Because by adding this little silly light, it made a world of difference. And,
Can you put gels in that one right there? That bigger
you
one?
can add gels to pretty much anything.
Yeah, it actually-
They have a slide thing right
It comes with a couple of different slides.
Right.
And you can also purchase things like, here we are. So this is a Rogue gel filter for my flashes, my camera flashes. But yeah, you can, comes with little sheets of, well, this is a white diffusion, but they'll be colored, blue, yellow, green, whatever. And you can just wrap these right around any, a gel's a gel. It's cut through.
And I think this whole kit is, I think when I bought mine, it was like $20. Yeah.
Roughly.
And there's a whole slew of different gels inside. So
Yeah,
they're
I'm
all,
just thinking, because you can put on a diffuser and get right into someone's face with the
Yes.
thing. And if you're using the iPhone, for example, and you have that light on there, put a diffuser on and it's not gonna blind them right in your face.
exactly.
But,
And that's one of the advantages of some of the larger ones, is they've actually got brightness choice.
Adjustments.
So not all of them have it. Does this one have it? Is this just
No,
on off?
that one doesn't
It's
have
just
it.
on off.
So then you have to use, pieces of paper, tissue paper, Kleenex, great diffusions,
Yes.
especially in the field.
They're LEDs, so they don't get hot, and they're gonna catch fire.
They do get hot, but not burn
To
you
the
hot.
extent.
Not old school.
And,
Yeah.
and again, when we added this because the youth came back to us and said, this is great for outside, but when we're inside, we have a problem. And so this was the next thing. It was quick, simple, and now we know that, okay, we need to add pieces to it. So the little gel kits are great. There are many ways to do it without adding the expense, but if you want to add the expense, sometimes the kit to purchase, for $20, you've got a variety of things, so wherever you're shooting, you can now adjust to
That's
it.
what it is, easier with the slide and the thing on there.
Right.
It is, but keep in mind, the kit gives me, I think, about 30 different gel colors. So not only am I correcting for colors, but I can also be creative. So if a backlight for a person doesn't have to just shine on the person. You can have it shine on the background. So you take the light, put a very blue gel on it, shine that on the background, and then you've got a blue background. So being creative doesn't strictly mean put the light on the camera and point it forward. Take the light off camera, experiment, have some fun. And that's where being able to do DIY or keep in mind you can buy the kit, but that's going to give you very specific things. If you buy the sheets, you can cut those up and have fun with it. It's probably cheaper in the long run, but
Just like in the studios.
yeah. So anytime your studio gels start to get ripped or burnt, grab those and then you can slice them up so they fit these. Reuse them.
Another little weird one, if you break your laptop, Apple laptop, and take apart the monitor, there's like 10 or 15 different screens, and they're just pretty cool to use.
So yeah, I know I've got about 15 laptops in the trunk of my car.
Screen apart.
Yeah.
Oh, you got one.
Go ahead.
I was a little late, you may have covered this. Are there cameras on those tablets?
Yes.
So how do those compare with the cell phone cameras?
That just gets into the per device. Every device is going to be slightly different. There's the 41 megapixel camera that's got huge pixelage, but they're going to have low light problems. If you get a camera that's 2 megapixels, you're going to have better low light performance, but you won't have the end result pixelage. However, with most monitors being 2 megapixels, and that is full HD, by the way, there's very little reason to be anything more than that. The reason you want more is if you're going to crop the footage. Very often, we'll take, most of our rental cameras now are HD, and so we will actually take one of these cameras, you can point it at the group, and then you just crop to zoom. And then when you down convert to SD, you really don't lose very much resolution.
It gives you the option of panning within a shot too.
Yeah. If you've got 18 megapixels, you can really zoom in there before you start losing pixelage.
And do they have mini lights that are tungsten, or are they all LEDs?
All right.
You can get, I'm sure you can. These are just, they're simple, they're lightweight.
There's a lot of color problems with the LEDs or whatever, so.
There can be. So
The newer ones are getting better.
keep in mind that if you go around to all of these lights up here, I guarantee you none of them are the same color. And that's the same issue you're going to have with these LEDs. At least I should point out the cheap LEDs. These are 30, 40, 50 bucks. If you want, go to Light Panels or one of Lowell or something. You can buy their $500 LED kits. They're going to be perfectly daylight balanced under the 5 different light colors of the lights in the room, which you can't balance to. So it's just a question of whether you're trying to spend, I mean, if you're spending $500 on a light, you might as well buy a nice camera too. A $30 light is something that you grab because you want to throw it in your pack, have it with you, and you don't want to worry about leaving it on a trip or something. I love those. I've used those on a number of projects, and they've worked out very well for me. And they're cheap. Well, one of the things I really like about the large one is it's AA batteries. So even if I run out of rechargeables, I can just go to the store and get some more. Whereas if you're getting the professional ones with the built-in battery supplies, it gets a little bit harder. Now hers is a rechargeable battery,
But you either buy extra batteries.
it's also a lot smaller and lighter weight, and that's those are just the costs that you have to look at. So yeah, AA battery is not going to fit in that thing. So it's just a lot of this is good, this isn't, this works for me better than this. And there's so many products out there, you really just got to go by a case-by-case basis.
Now, all these cameras high def?
Is the Flip?
Flip is high def.
All right.
And they make both.
That is a high def, and like I said, those we purchased through TechSoup at $10 a pop. You know, they restrict you.
I paid $120 for mine.
Yeah, well, I've heard that a lot. That's why I said if you're not part of TechSoup.org, definitely get your organizations to sign up with them because they have software. They have refurbished computers, laptops, flip cameras, all kinds of stuff
Software
that.
and everything.
Yes.
They
have restrictions.
Well, the one reason I ask is we deliver in standard depth, so is there a preferable conversion program? I mean, do you need to do that? And what about aspect ratio?
What's your editing software, if you have any?
We use iMovie, Pinnacle, Final Cut Pro.
All right. Final Cut Pro can export to a couple hundred different formats. iMovie, I'm sure it's got probably a standard depth. It's probably got like a YouTube option, a Vimeo option. You've got various options there.
I think iMovie also has HD in it too.
Yeah, you've got some
It's
HD
just your
formats,
export
SD
settings.
formats.
Yeah.
And most of
About
these will,
broadcasting,
most of these will now allow you to take both SD and HD content and edit it together. But you have to be aware that some of the professional ones, you have to scale the media to fit your timeline.
So I hope that answered your question.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, I like the solution. What I'm looking for is what this gentleman was talking about. You know, something that can be checked out, and everything that you need, including editing, is available to you in one device. And now you've got it delivered to us, and if it's in HD, we've got to get it from HD standard depth.
Well, if you take a look at the screen, the vid trim I've got here, well, there's a light version, which I've got, and then there's a pro version. That is one of the conversion softwares you can use. But as I was saying, within well, we've mentioned this a couple times,
Right.
within these devices, if you use the onboard camera, you really don't need to convert this anything. It's only when you're taking footage from elsewhere and then you want to use it in the device. If you are trying to export something on these devices, they typically have presets. So you can preset an export for standard depth. The best thing to do is to come up with 2 or 3 formats, and you write those out and you make it so that it's very obvious what they are. So 480 is your standard depth footage. And very often the exports that you'll get, one will say 360, 240, 480, 720, 1080. Those are a majority of the standards, from 240 being very low res web. You've got 360 slightly higher, 480 is standard depth. Then you've got 720 HD, and then 1080 HD. Then you start doing progressive interlace, but ignore that for now. What you really want to look at is the presets that say for YouTube. YouTube SD, YouTube HD, Vimeo SD, Vimeo HD. Those are what you can, if you find one of those that works really well, those standards are preset in almost all devices. And so you can just say, just use the Vimeo SD standard and export it and send it to us. And it works with our system. That way you have a known point that you don't have to create a new standard for everybody. You use a standard somebody else created that's already on everything.
And also just having what your expectations are when people are turning in footage. I know at our station we have a format that we hand to people when they first start turning in video for airing that says we want it in this format, and if we need to, we will help them find that format on whatever software they're using, whether it's Sony Vegas or Premiere or Final Cut Pro or iMovie, and we get them so that they understand that it needs to be transcoded into that format, so when it's turned in, it will play, we won't have any complications, because it seems like we're running into that. But we have taken the footage from the youth, and they've uploaded it to the server. They put it on the website, and we've taken some of it back down, and we create a show. The youth come in and they do a show. And so we will take that same footage, and they do what's called, basically like a roll-in. They talk about the different videos that were created by the other youth, and they comment on it. So it's kind of a cool way for them to put it together, and then that's rebroadcasted on the channel. So we have that layout for the iTouch and things like that, so they have that format.
I was going to say, getting back to the light sources, what's the battery life on the adjustable one, approximately?
That varies depending on
Like, is
what
that an
adjustment
hour
you're at.
or?
All right, so you're looking at a couple of different things here. You have the batteries themselves. You have, so I use rechargeables. I run through batteries often enough that it's a very much better, affordable way to do it. You can use the rechargeable AA's. You can use Sony camera batteries. I can use Canon camera batteries. All of those have different, milliamp ratings, and that varies depending on which one.
Depends on this.
Yeah, so
Right.
it varies quite a bit. Now, I've had these last quite a while, but they do start to dim when you get when you get partway through. So I would say about 1 hour is what you're going to get at a full battery charge.
So you get a good hour out of it.
Yeah. At which point you're either, but then of course if you keep it only at the lowest power rating, then it's gonna last longer. If it's at the high one,
Yeah, very well.
yeah, it's not gonna last quite as
Right.
long.
And so it does dim out as the batteries go down, it doesn't just suddenly crash.
The cheap ones will, yeah. The more expensive ones with the fancy battery packs, those won't dim. They maintain a constant voltage out, and that will maintain the same voltage until the battery itself just dies.
Is there a plug-in on those in case you wanted to use AC?
On the more expensive ones you can, but on these,
I don't see it, but I'm sure there are plenty. If you get in touch with your DIY hacker friends, they will make one for you. There are definitely plenty of ways to do. Well, if this takes a Sony battery for your camera, you can just take the AC unit and plug it in.
Yeah.
So there are ways around that, but then of course, I don't want to spend $100 on a Sony branded AC adapter just to get a $40 light to turn on. So you've got those options.
that question over here. Okay.
Oh, about the transcoding thing, I mean, I would think that, I'm sure there's a program that you could run it through, but I'm sure not everywhere at the station, I know you guys got a lot of kids doing it, but it would kind of be like a selective thing, like, oh, you don't know how to use, you don't want to learn how to use Final Cut, you don't want to use our big cameras, that's fine, you want to do your mobile thing, that's cool. And then when they bring it back, basically all we got to teach them is how to bring it in, a real rudimentary way, bring it into Final Cut, you know what I'm saying, put your sequence on standard definition DV and bring in the HD footage, shrink it down, crop it, do what you want to do, and then put it out, and you're done. Put it on the channel. It's pretty simple thing.
And that's the option of using the editor I have in here. I mean, I edited in the thing, and you've got full edits for all of this. So once this is done, I can export it.
You shot this with your...
I shot this with the tablet.
Oh, okay.
So you can see it's a little shaky because I'm actually just holding the tablet. And if I actually spent a serious amount of time on this, it would probably look a little bit better. You can add transitions, I think. Yeah, so there's plenty of different transitions. Most of these are sort of just funny things. You can go invert it, grayscale it, sharpen it, sepia. Those are all one-off, so it's not like you get you can cartoonify everything. So you're going to get a lot of options with these app-style editors and such. The main advantage to these is they're just fun. This is not, I mean, you can use these to create your cinematic masterpieces, but this really is more of an Instagram-y type thing. It's not fine art for the most part, but it is very useful for Instagram or content focused material, where you're not as worried about, is the color correction quite right? No, we're more worried about, if you were at the luncheon, we were talking about getting, the Google girls showed the woman who was homeless, and you can't bring out your gigantic camera to shoot that. You have to shoot it on something like this. But it really doesn't matter that it's shot on this because it's about the person. However, if you're shooting an event, such as wonderful panelists like ourselves with a camera in the background, it's better that you have a camera that can shoot long form shows. That thing can shoot something like 5 hours on the internal storage, and we won't run out of tape. But it also doesn't have to be small concealable. It can sit on a tripod, it can be plugged in, and it's not a problem.
The other thing too with mobile devices, it's a convenience. You know, when you're shooting events, you want the better quality. You know, a lot of these give you great quality for certain things. We have seniors that don't want to carry that thing around. You know, even the smaller camcorders are getting smaller, but they're still, you know, for older folks, it's bulky, it's awkward, they have a tripod, they have all this stuff. So it's carry this one bag, or they come and they're picking up, you know, the big camera case, they're picking up a tripod, and, you know, and we're helping them load it in their cars. I don't know who's helping them when they get to their location, but, you know, so sometimes it's a convenience, you know, and for most folks watching shows, they're not gonna notice the slight difference of quality.
What about the training, like training the youth to edit on those things? It's difficult? Or?
No, it was really actually really simple, and most of them figured out stuff that we didn't pick up right away. You know, give it to them, let them play with it. It's all right there. They drag their stuff in there. They can do transitions. They can add text. You know, there are limitations when you do text in certain things, like in the flip cam, when you edit and you use the text in there, and then you put it on television, your text doesn't understand safe area, so your text isn't quite going to work. But for the kids, you know, and if you're adding it, like when we use some of that footage, we've put it into a show where we're talking about the clips they shot and where they shot it. Does the text really matter? It's usually at the end where it's talking about who it is, and we give them credit in the credits anyways and things like that. So it goes back to, again, what are you using it for? What are you shooting it for? If it's for convenience and flexibility, you know, you have to weigh all of that, especially with mobile devices. They had the luncheon today too, where they were showing everybody there with their tablets and their iPhones, and they're shooting the events and watching it. And you know, 10 years ago that wouldn't exist. Go ahead.
I just want to share something. We produced a show called Future Talk. It's sponsored by the Tech Museum of San Jose. And Pelican Imaging came in. This isn't a promo for them, but they are coming out with a camera that's the size of a quarter. It's got a 4x4 array, and it captures images so that later you can move the images around 3D and refocus people and do amazing things. I don't know how soon that's going to come on the market and if it'll be affordable, but I was blown away. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Anybody out there using the dreaded drone cam yet?
I've tried it, the AR drone parrot thing.
There's a bunch of them out there. I saw one demoed up in front of a store at an airport the other day that was totally scary. I mean, it had two little, well, it had four little helicopter arrays on it. You could barely hear it standing next to it.
The ultimate in mobile
devices. It could hover, it could flip, it could do all kinds of stuff. It had an HD monitor, $600.
The only problem with those, because I've used one, and I use the older one, I don't know about the new ones, but you get a lot of vibration in the camera from the motor, especially when you're going up or down. Once you're stabilized, it's kind of all right, but when you're accelerating, it's unwatchable. It's like,
but we have these things flying all over our neighborhood.
No good.
We're all over the place, but once we got it fixed,
it's all right.
Yeah, then it looked like we had this high crane or, something out there.
Seems like an insurance nightmare to me.
Oh, yeah.
We've asked if we could use one at festivals, and the cops freak out,
Oh, yeah.
he freaks out, everybody freaks out.
There's actually a lot of legislation being thrown around right now with regards to that, because up until now, most people that had drones, they were the government, and nobody else could afford it. Now we've got hackers building these things in their garages, and it's just for fun for the most part. Then there's other people with these $6,000 8-bladed rigs that are taking DSLRs or RED cameras around, getting incredible footage, but that also presents a risk. Those things, if they fall on a person, or if they crash into a car or something, that's a lot of damage, and there's a lot of liability with that. And so we're probably going to see a lot of commercialization of that sort of thing over the next few years, and restrictions on people using that.
There are micro drones being developed, like the size of mosquitoes.
Yeah.
Undetected.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where there's a lot of them. They're getting really small, really big. It really depends on what you're trying to use them for. But there's a lot of them out there, and people are getting a little spooked by it all. But For the most part, people will probably just get used to having drones around, just like we are now used to having cell phones around in another 5 to 10 years. But it'll be an interesting thing to see all of that.
We have one more question, and then if anybody would like to come up and look at this stuff one more time, and then if you want any information on any of this stuff,